Prime Minister Boris Johnson has now been discharged from hospital as he continues his recovery from COVID-19. Well, we can bring in our political correspondent, Joe Pike, to tell us more about it. Very good news for the Prime Minister that he's been discharged from hospital. Joe, we understand he's on his way to Chequers, but he's not going to be immediately returning to work.
No, this is the full statement from Downing Street in the last few minutes, Sam. The PM has been discharged from hospital to continue his recovery at Chequers. Chequers, of course, the Prime Minister's official country residence. On the advice of his medical team, the PM will not be immediately returning to work. He wishes to thank everybody at St Thomas's for the brilliant care he has received. All of his thoughts are with those affected by this illness. Now, we know the Prime Minister spent 3 nights in intensive care, and that in itself, I think, suggests quite how bad his situation was and his health was at some stage. He clearly has said overnight that he owes his life to the medical staff at St Thomas's, and therefore I think it's very clear he will need quite some time, possibly a number of weeks, to recover. We know that his pregnant fiancée, Carrie Symonds, has also shown symptoms of COVID-19 and has recovered. So we perhaps presume that she will also join the Prime Minister at Chequers to help with his recovery. Of course, some serious questions of the government at the moment around lots of issues, including testing and personal protective equipment. And we know towards the end of next week, the government's expert group of scientists, SAGE, will be meeting to look at the key data in relation to the outbreak and certainly come to some produce some early advice for the government on where next. Of course, the government need to make a decision in the next few weeks about what to do with the lockdown, how and if to lift it. It seems unlikely it will be lifted in the immediate week, more likely that it will be extended. But what is the strategy for lifting it at some stage? I think Boris Johnson will want to be at the heart of those decisions, at the heart of those meetings, but that clearly could take some weeks.
Don't we, Joe? Well, we know that in his absence has been deputised by Dominic Raab, and we'll continue to see that arrangement, will we?
Yeah, that is the presumption for now. So Dominic Raab is the Foreign Secretary, but also the First Secretary of State. He has been deputising for the Prime Minister. But let's be honest, there haven't been a lot of very big decisions to make in the past week while Boris Johnson has been hospitalised. The machinery of government has continued, and the direction of travel set by Boris Johnson before he became ill was very, very clear. The direction in terms of testing, in terms of PPE, the lockdown measures clearly already in place. So Dominic Raab, while he has been at the helm, he has been chairing those daily COVID-19 meetings, and he is the most senior cabinet minister now. He has not needed to make any decisions. I think we know Boris Johnson is somebody who's wanted to be in number 10 for his whole life. He knows that his premiership will be judged on his response to the COVID-19 outbreak. I think he will find it very difficult not to be at the forefront of that decision-making. We know, though, that his close advisers, civil servants and political advisers know he needs rest, and he's only going to be able to function at his peak if he has had time to rest at Chequers in the coming days and weeks.
OK, Joe, thank you. Just a reminder that we know this information because we've had a statement from number 10, and that reads, the PM has been discharged from hospital to continue his recovery at Chequers. On the advice of his medical team, the PM will not be immediately returning to work. He wishes to thank everybody at St Thomas's for the brilliant care he has received. All of his thoughts are with those affected by this illness. So just to recap, the Prime Minister has now been discharged from St Thomas's Hospital and is on his way to Chequers to continue his recovery. We wish him well.